So, anyone has anything to share from your discussion? Or any questions that arise in discussion you would like me to hear some of my perspective? Yes, please.
Hello. So, how do you be assertive but compassionate at the same time?
The word before what you said?
Assertive.
Well, what is that?
Assertive. So, I guess, so if you're passionate and possibly angry about a certain situation, you want to be quite forceful, I guess. So that's kind of assertiveness in a way. But you don't want to be angry, but you want to be, you want to create change, I guess, or you want
right.
Yeah, but you want to do it compassionately.
Sure.
Because I guess there's a lot of issues going on in the world.
Sure.
Or even in your local community.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like the people who gain the results are the ones that are angry or are fight, I guess, in a way. So how do you be assertive and compassionate and create results?
Mm-hmm. So I think it's for Buddhist practitioner, who understand the karmic law, cause and effect, then usually, the way how we look at the object of our anger, the enemy, so-called, or the harm giver, whatever the harm that when you're receiving, whatever trigger you to arise anger, is very much due to the negative karma that one committed in the past. Is it's not because of that one is not responsible for that kind of harm, that kind of irritation that what you call replying to you is not just totally due to the faults of that person or that harm giver. Is very much due to my own past karma. So therefore, there's no reason for me to get angry towards that person or that enemy or that harm giver. And it is also no point and no benefit and not realistic to get upset and get angry towards myself too, because the karma that myself committed to experience the distributed emotion in me in relation to that particular situation or that particular people is due to the negative emotion, my own negative emotion. So I need to see the faults of negative emotion, and if I want to pacify the arising of anger in myself, and at the same time preventing retaliation or preventing causing harm to that situation or that harm giver, and at the same time to come to a point to stop totally the negative karmic interconnection, or what you call negative karmic interrelation with that negative situation, and that so-called as that harm giver is the only way is to forgive and to control your anger, to forgive, and plus seeing the benefit of generating compassion, benefit of generating compassion, such like if you instead of retaliation, rather you generate compassion to that person, the harm giver, or generate compassion to yourself, that who is under the trauma of anger. By generating compassion, it brings what you call the quick impact, fast impact in the purification of the karma, and a fast impact also to eliminate the disturbing emotion, the anger is going on in your heart. So while arising anger, if you allow to yourself to examine a bit, even how angry one may be, it's not necessarily 100% of entire your mind is occupied with anger. There may be some senses there. Sensible minds is still possible. So while disturbing emotions there, you use the certain portion of sensible mind to convince you through logic and reasoning, and the benefit of the generating compassion, benefit of controlling the anger, and benefit of forgiving, forgive, and that's the only way to overcome this disturbances. So this way, not only able to suppress, if not totally eliminate, but at least able to suppress the explosive of the anger, but at the same time allow yourself to, a certain degree of your mind to transform into compassion, and be the kind of antidote to heal both the karma and both the present experiences that which haunting by the mind of anger. So I think this is one of the way for those who practice, those who understand Buddha Dharma, means who understand karma. And this is the real thing, So if you don't know how to understand karma, then maybe simply can think that it's how stupid I am. I'm no different than holding a burning fire charcoal and hoping to throw to someone. Anger is something like that, like holding a fire in your palm, a fire charcoal in your hand, and wanting to throw. But you're holding it, and who burn? You burn, not the one that who going to throw the burn. But if even you are able to throw, maybe that person may burn a little bit, maybe he can be straight away kick off and gone. But yourself is holding and wanting to throw, and you're burning it. So the anger can provide that much, the suffering into yourself. So sometimes you just and it makes sense if you think like that. It's how stupid I am. It's like I'm no different than holding a burning charcoal and hoping to throw to someone. Isn't it? So then, yeah, maybe that's the way. Did I answer somewhere? No? Or maybe I didn't understand you. Maybe I didn't understand the question, or maybe I went and distract somewhere else. Can you clarify to me?
Okay.
Okay, what do you think?
I think you're great.
Okay.
But I guess I should have been a bit more broader with my question.
Okay.
So, for instance, in the world, there are these events like climate change and I don't know, like America, and it just seems like even if the way to push us forward as a society and to become more humanitarian is through compassion. It just, what it seems like the aggressive parties generally are the ones
I
that...
know you're talking about Donald Trump.
Well, Donald Trump and big corporations.
Okay.
And so how do you give them compassion?
Oh, okay.
Or because it seems like they have been the dominating forces of our lives, and if we don't, I guess, fight or stand up for our rights, then will this religion, or not religion, sorry, will we disappear with these thoughts, if that makes sense?
Okay. So, first of all, Donald Trump is object of our compassion. I think yesterday in Gold Coast I say Aussie. Aussie. Because sometimes when you say object of compassion, it's too long. So just summarize, to concise it to Aussie. So whenever you think of Donald Trump and similar, and then you just think they are my Aussie. Yeah. Yes. No, I think the positive voice, beneficial voice is necessary to voice out. I think even in the teaching prayer by the Langri Tangpa, one of the verses is giving victory to others. So here, sometimes as a compassionate practitioner, and we think that we have to give victory to anybody who is very dominant and who want to bully you and just give victory. So the teaching doesn't mean that. The victory is basically victory to the virtues, victory to the virtuous consequences. If there is a negative force and which consequences will be negative, then the way to offer victory is, finding virtually eliminating that negative force by what you call defending, pushing away that negative force and virtually, you see. So it's and how wonderful that more people virtually will voice out. The one of the problem is the people who understand that unlikely the rare opportunity to come together to voice out. Even people feel in the wrongdoing of certain big communities and certain politicians, parties, but then the majority, just kind of like keep quiet, and I think bringing awareness of the virtues, bringing awareness of the positive force, I think is a necessity. But the unfortunate is there are large, amount of negative force are there, and a huge amount, if not more than positive force, but not less. Is a huge. So therefore, so by understanding that, then even there is only one person, maybe like you and me, or maybe this bunch of people here, we have the compassionate, positive thinking about the world, about the environment, about the interrelation with the nation to nation, society to society, different faith, and we cannot think that we only have few people, so therefore there won't be any benefit, and I just keep quiet, I just don't pray, I just don't do my part. I think that is not right. I think we have to do. There's a very nice quotation from His Holiness Dalai Lama. If you as an individual think that cannot make difference to the world, then you go and sleep with mosquito. So this is very nice. So I think this is a very good answer. So we individuals definitely can make differences to the world, and sometimes we do what you call set back by thinking that we only have few or only me alone. So therefore it's not possible to bring changes, and we keep quiet and we don't do our part. So that's not right. So we have to do our part, even it can be only one person, and that one person for amount of long time that you may be able to influence many other people, and eventually there will be more positive people in this world. Right very this stage, I think more negative people in this world, and more negative powerful people in this world. Powerful in the sense of money and negative force powerful. So how to say? If everybody, those who think positively, the compassionate way, if come out and unite from all over the world, I think definitely we can overcome. There's so many different challenges that we are facing, but there are so many people of those positive people. I think what is on the says, they are sleeping with the mosquito. So that's why you don't see a great impact to the world. But then again, we cannot discourage. That doesn't mean your effort is not effective. Your effort is just having this thinking already effective. And do your part, and I have to do my part, and we all have to do our part. At least keeping in the prayer. If physically, verbally, there's no conducive environment to offer your support, but at least mentally, we can still have a full trust in the ability of our prayer. One day, this will bring to the changes, like that. Something like that. Okay. Anyone? Okay. Sure.
Thank you, Geshe. Your questions that you gave us created a lot of discussion for our group, mainly the question about virtuous attachment.
Oh, wow.
And whether it always is totally afflicted.
Okay.
So we then sort of touched on taking attachment into the path. So we also, we just wanted some clarification to get your ideas on this. We sort of came up that worldly attachment's definitely not virtuous. We all came to that.
Okay.
As far as it not being totally afflicted, we grappled a little with that. So the only thing we could really think of was that it has to depend on your intention and the objective of what you're doing.
Yeah.
So the only things we could really come up with was having that aspiration to and a pure intention to have a perfect human rebirth, to come back and actually be of benefit to other people, continue on the path to Dharma, or holy beings who come back for that purpose. Is that right? Are we on the right track, or are there other afflictive emotions that are?
I think it's you're in the right track. I think when we just give the characteristic of the attachment in itself, I think it is affliction. It is negativities. With the positive motivation, not just with the positive motivation. I think there are many level of ability in the practice, like such as high level of concentration and high level of the wisdom realizing emptiness, and with that, then attachment can be beneficial emotion. But in order to attachment to be beneficial emotion, I think need to I think need to realize emptiness. If you realize emptiness, then it's attachment, the emotion of attachment which is not attached. Emotion of attachment which is not attached. Okay, so this one I have to think through it. Think hard. That, So meaning, the emotional experiences, the impact of attachment is no different than the expression of attachment itself. But then there's no grasping. There's no grasping. So there's no grasping into it. So this, I think this makes sense, because when you realize emptiness, then with the mind of emptiness, that you can overwhelm with the affection. Is totally kind of attached to the work of liberation of sentient being, but then there's no sense of grasping in any understanding of grasping of permanent, grasping of intrinsic, grasping in the intrinsic nature, grasping of independent nature, because you are totally free of that, and you are just using the mind of attachment as to become the most forceful tool to have a most attractive attitude towards the rest of the other sentient being. Because when you desire to someone, when you attach to someone, then you only see the qualities or the attractive characteristic, and to develop the highest degree of the attractiveness, preciousness of sentient being, and there are certain stages that can be utilized attachment as a tool for that. So that's why I say that in the causal Bodhisattva path, there is the taking attachment into a path. So taking attachment into a path is nothing other than strengthening, intensifying your attractiveness towards rest of the sentient being. As how that you get attracted to something that you totally desired, totally attached to, you see, so like that. So, but then as far as concerned with the anger, is saying that is, in the causal Bodhisattva yana, there's no path, there's no technique to transform, anger into a path. So there's a technique to transform attachment into a path. And that the reason is none other than for the development of altruism. Yeah. So it's possible. But then if we don't have the mind of wisdom, wisdom realizing emptiness, then attachment is very much it is absolute delusion, and it is whatever action performed from there, it will be very much what you call the cause of samsara, and a cause of increasing grasping. You see, because the whatever action we perform through attachment, it let us increases our grasping, and our grasping to permanent, our grasping to expectation, our grasping to hallucinated imaginary kind of like projections, and at the end of the day, the grasping is very much towards something which is not true. The grasping is very much towards the false projected object, and that's how that it create the karma as well as lead into a suffering of change. You see, but when we take the attachment into a path, then whatever experiences of bliss that you experience, it is a genuine bliss, genuine happiness, and that is virtue, and that happiness can be developed all the way up to the everlasting state of happiness. The ordinary, ordinary so-called as a bliss, blissful of, desirous attached object obtaining into your life, such as beautiful dress or beautiful ice cream, or whatever, is that there's a sense of satisfaction, but that satisfaction is very much in the sensual level, and the basis of that satisfaction is very much rely on the hallucinated subject, and the hallucinated subject is very much attracted to the hallucinated object, which is not to the fundamental truth level. So because of that, then it's just a matter of time it will turn into a suffering of change, and then therefore it is still in the nature of suffering. So like that.
Geshe, we were talking very, very similar. Maybe you've answered the question for us. We were talking about aversion and whether aversion can be non-afflictive. And in the case of, say, having aversion to doing the wrong thing or aversion to samsara, does that make it virtuous?
Aversion, I think, is very much referring to the state of anger. I think state of intolerant. So even it is about samsara, it is about negative actions. Still, there's a delusional, still affliction. So you see, so mind of renunciation is it is a total rejection. Like mind of renunciation to samsara is one of the mind that which is totality in the rejection of samsara. So mind of renunciation towards performance of negative activities, it is rejection. So that is a virtue, because the mind of renunciation is seeing the faults of negativities, seeing the faults of samsara, but then there's no sense of aversion. Rather, that renunciation in fact lead to an inspiration. The aversion will lead to intolerant, and then more delusion. You see, so yeah, like that. Okay, thank you. That's it. Okay, then we go a little bit talking about all the. It's not so inspiring though, because we're still going to talk about the negative emotions. And yes, so even to realize wisdom, realizing emptiness, Lama Tsongkhapa advice is necessary for us to recognize the negation first, so that we are able to recognize so that we are able to realize the wisdom. So similar, and Nagarjuna also say that, and then similarly, when we want to recognize the virtuous mind, recognize the here in particular here, to recognize the Buddha nature, then it is one of the best ways to recognize all the false mind. So all the false minds are false. Then from there, then you can see, there are certain mind that which don't have the characteristic of those negative emotions, and those are naturally either our clear nature of mind, or or the Buddha nature, like that. So that's the reason why we need to discuss so much about the negative emotions. And also, once we know the characteristic of negative emotion, then we can be very vigilant, how to overcome that in our day-to-day life, because they are, in the majority of our awareness is very much under the influence of a negative emotion itself, under the influence of ignorance, under the influence of hallucination, and therefore, it is one of the theme of Langri. Even wish to experience happiness, but then do not know how to accumulate the causes of happiness. While wanting happiness, but then spontaneously, go and commit, create the cause of unhappiness. So it's why spontaneous? Because our minds are hallucinated. We thought, we believe, we seems that such and such actions are causes for happiness, and we engage in that. In fact, the engagement of that kind of action, in fact, is happen to be causes of suffering. So it looks like a virtue, it looks like a cause of happiness, but in fact, it is not virtue. And one of the main reasons is because we didn't know the detailed characteristic of negative emotion. So because of that. So now from the sixth root delusion, pride. So pride is the inflated superiority, supported by one's worldly view, worldly, such as like the 8 worldly views or ordinary views, which include disrespect of others. So the pride, again, there's so many different degrees of pride. If there's no sense of seeing, quality in other, the absence of seeing quality in other itself in you is a pride. You see, so it's a quite a thing, isn't it? Absence of seeing quality in other. So when we are among with somebody, our mind has to be mindful of seeing quality in them, look quality in them. You see, then the state of humanity is there. Just keep thinking, I'm nobody. That doesn't make much sense. You are somebody. You are not nobody. You are really somebody, and you keep saying I'm nobody. But then that itself can be a kind of boasting of ego. It sounds like humble, but actually kind of, as if like you are, how to say, complaining about not recognizing who I am. Isn't it?
Yeah.
So this is a huge complaint, you see. So now you see the humanity, and the humanity is the mind that which acknowledge and seeing qualities in other. When you see qualities in other, and at least then naturally you will gain respect to other, and naturally you won't put yourself in a position of you are the Mount Everest. You are the highest. Not like that. You will at least find that okay, something is there too. I may have some good things. Okay, yes, wonderful, but he and she also have some other great things. So therefore, to always being mindful to control one's ego, it is one of the very important practice of Buddha Dharma. Because to practice Buddha Dharma, we need to strive for abundance of knowledge, abundance of blessing, and the abundance of merit and abundance of knowledge comes when your mind in the state of humanity. When you have an ego, then the Dharma knowledge won't able to reside within our mental continuum because of the mountain of the ego. So mountain of the ego will never able to hold the nectar of Dharma, nectar of blessing in our mental continuum. So in order for us to challenge that, then challenge our ego, then is always always have a perception of seeing qualities in other, or at least looking for qualities in other, and having the view of that everybody is special, everyone is special. Then here it comes. Then why? At least there's one amazing quality is everyone has Buddha nature. So everyone has these qualities of the Buddha. So therefore, how can I let down somebody? How can I look down on somebody? How can I bully somebody? How can I, harm somebody? Because the somebody is so precious. Because somebody has a Buddha nature, and you see. So as a Buddhist practitioner, then in short, at least we need to have in our understanding that which carry all the time in our awareness is every single numberless sentient being has an equal qualities of the Buddha nature, that what you have and what Buddha has. So Buddha also said again and again that if you respect me, and you should respect sentient being. You see, and if you want to make offering to me, then make generosity to sentient being. If you want to protect me as how precious, then you protect the vulnerable sentient beings' life and their, If you want to serve me, then you offer service to sentient being. So even the practice of six paramita, is very much designed or very much kind of practice in relation to sentient being. You see, and even the 10 virtues commitment, 10 virtues ethical discipline is very much is about relating to sentient being, to offer service to sentient being, to offer protection to sentient being, to offer benefit to sentient being, so like that. So whenever we have an ego, then all this virtuous mind is so difficult to arise in our heart, and not only that, our mind will be very much, in the influence in the worldly concern. So if it's in a worldly concern, then even you happen to be so-called as a holiness of one spiritual, a spiritual leader, then you may have the title, but then you don't have the actual, the Dharma there. So even with such an ego-centered mind, then if you lead a monastery, as an abbot, and if you lead as a director, a committee, as a center, then as a practitioner in your family, the rest of the family don't go to Dharma center, don't practice Buddhism, and you got a chance to practice Buddhism, you go to Dharma center. But then when you go back home, and you are the most concrete, egoistic person, then it's against everything. Then you don't have the Dharma blessing, and you don't have the Dharma practice. And what you provide your time for Dharma is very much like kind of like a boosting ego. Then if that's happened, then it's like water, went on flame. Then nothing can heal you. Nothing can help you. Dharma is supposed to eliminate the flame of ego. But then by practicing Dharma, then your ego become greater. Then it's like then you are untrainable. You're hopeless. But still you have Buddha nature. Still have Buddha nature. Buddha won't give up on us, but human being may give up on us. So like that. So yeah. So you see, so the longer that you practice, the harder that you practice, the more that you practice, the more the humble you become, you know. So that's why I say, Treda Shishintu, you know, the more you hear Dharma, you know, the more, physically, verbally become more and more humble. You know, the physically you naturally become humble. Not just showing off to be humble, like that, it's naturally. It's like transparent, you know, in and out. Like you're truly humble. The impact of your ego is really kind of eliminated. But at least the ego is very much kind of suppressed, you see. So the more you hear Dharma, the more humble that you need to become. The more humble that you need to, the impact, the result of listening more Dharma, you know, need to appear in the result in your existence in becoming humbler and humbler, and verbally kinder and kinder, verbally more patient, you know, more gentle, you know, much nicer, like that, you see. So we have a huge responsibility, each one of us, you know, all of us in quite a similar situation. Not every one of our family, you know, go to Dhamma center. Not every one of our family practice Buddhism, and not every one of our family, even believe in Buddhist teaching. But then we have that karma. So the greatest teaching that we can offer, the greatest gift that we can offer to our family members when we go back home, is the blessing of humility, the blessing of Dharma, that which resulting into you by, you know, purifying the ego. So when you go back home, you know, each time you go to Dhamma center, when you come back home, you know, you smile more, you know, you talk more nicer thing, more positive thing, you know, you become more gentle, you know, you become more tolerant, you become more accommodating, you know, and you become better listener, not a better talking one, you know, more better listener. You know, that if you ask you to talk, you talk very nice. So then your husband will be very surprised, you know, that there's some magic in Dhamma center. You know, there's something is really, you know, I think one day I should follow her. You know? So then the wife said, yeah, one day I should follow him, because her husband, wow, each time he go to Dhamma center, there's a lot of positive vibe, positive energy bring back, you know. You see, so like that. Then even the children may find, you see, whenever the children know the mother going to the center, they're very happy, because tonight when she come back, you know, she's very much more loving, much more caring, much more gentle. You know, even the dinner also become more delicious. You cook more delicious dinner. You know, you see. So more mindful of you know, the amount of the salt that you put, more mindful of, you know, you see, you will cook with much love, you know, not as like kind of like my duty, just a responsibility, or mother, no choice, I have to cook. It's not like that, you know. So you yourself will enjoy cooking, but then at the same time, you know, it will affect. As I mentioned this morning, you see, then it really makes sense that may this cooking may able to satisfy, you know, them, their senses with fully bliss, and may that bliss be the cause for their liberation, you know, establish the seat of liberation, and that really works, you know. So that you really mean it, you see. So like that. So therefore, and all this won't allowed if ego is still there. The ego is the one that which always prevent you doing all this, you see. So like that. Then you see, so Tadashin. So Gomda Nyamungdu, the more you meditate, then one need to experience the result of getting lesser and lesser delusion, you see. So you may claim that you do a lot of meditation, and not the amount of time you do meditation. Not because of someone say you are a good meditator. We ourselves have to examine every time when we do meditation. Right after that, right after following, the time, is our mind less the influence of delusion or not? If that is happening, then the meditation is going on right track. If that is not happening, then your anger is still the same level, your disturbing emotions are like there's no changes at all, then maybe you need to think about the strategy of your meditation, because the impact of meditation has to happen immediately. The ultimate impact, of course, may need to wait for a long time, but we need to experience something immediately. You see, something really kind of affect you, because a concentrated meditative 5 minutes of time, it has to be cause of your better time later, and there's nothing changing, even a slight level, nothing is changing. Today also nothing changing, tomorrow also nothing changing, and some more getting worse means we have to think carefully whether your meditation technique is doing right or not. You see, so that's why meditation is, as I mentioned yesterday, it's not just staying thoughtless. That doesn't help. That may help to calm your mind for temporarily only. The real meditation is, seeing absolute, using our wisdom to see the faults of negativities and putting full effort to overcome it, suppress it, eliminate it, purify completely, So that can be done by what you call occupying our awareness in totality in virtue, or replace all the disturbing emotion into a virtuous emotion. So replace, then we continue to meditate, that replacement become stable in our mental continuum, so that the changes will come into our life like that. So then doubt is also one of the root delusion. So deluded, indecisive, wavering, being in two mind about reality, usually lead to negative actions. You see, so here the doubt is very much, whenever we so even not gaining right view itself is very much by the mind, that not mind of there's a subconscious doubt. There's no sense of interest, knowing the truth, which is the right view, and right view as well as the characteristic of virtues, benefit of virtues. We simply ignoring it. Subconsciously there's no firm kind of the positive side of mind there. Either there's an equal of like kind of yes no in our mind. So because of that, then our mind is not fully developed into a right view, not fully developed into virtues. And even we pursue knowing the truth, but then most of the time, because of you don't have kind of like a more positive mind than just kind of like a neutral doubtfulness, and due to that, since the doubtfulness is a delusional affliction, and the result will be most of the time lead into performing negative actions. So that's why the doubt is negative. You see, if the doubt it has a more positive impact, even how much you doubt, but eventually it will lead to a positive side, then it's okay. But the nature of the doubt from the cerebral delusion is very much will lead you into the negative conclusion. So that's why it's a problem. So due to that, then we need to we need to clear the doubt. And how to do that? And through discovering the truth. And how to discover the truth? And through again, the application of learning and contemplation and meditation. Because whatever you learn not necessarily can be a right information or right knowledge, or beneficial knowledge. We must contemplate on it. Whatever you learn, we have to contemplate on it. So whatever the wisdom that you gain from contemplation, not necessarily can be effective to your own spiritual growth or your own virtuous growth. So we need to bring into the application of meditation. We need to apply into our day-to-day life. So if it's beneficial for the virtuous or spirituality in our day-to-day life, then that will come to absolute clearance of the doubt and affirming firm conviction. It will be gained in your mental state of that virtue, of that view. Then that view, that virtues won't be interrupted by any of the negative emotion, including the doubt itself. You see, so so even the doubt sounds like quite simple, but in order to clear the doubt in the view, we have to study. And we have to study abundance of scriptures, abundance of knowledge. Then not only that, we need to really have to contemplate, to do analytical contemplation. So after analytical contemplation, you will come to a certain degree of, oh yes, this looks good, this sounds good, there's a reason there, there's a logic there, but then whether it is applicable in practical level or not, in your day-to-day life. So there comes when you bring into application as a part of meditation in your life, then you will see whether it's really affecting your mind or not. Then if you see it is affecting, then you will gain irresistible conviction in that. You see, so like that. So then wrong view. So wrong view, is speculative delusion. Based on emotional affliction, distinguishing, even though there are many types of wrong views, but such as a belief in the self and permanent, wrong view of either believing self is, inherent permanent, or is it permanent existing, inherent existing, or just simply having the understanding that self is totally what you call the lack of interdependency, is totally totally empty, lack of dependency, so that is a wrong view. Then denying karma, denying karma is also wrong view, and not understanding the value of the triple gem. In the Buddhist content, not understanding of the triple gem is also wrong view. But if it's a non-Buddhist, then whatever their object of reverence, not regarding the characteristic of them, it can be a wrong view too. So, as a Buddhist, is what I call not necessarily need to have a refuge, in order to become Buddha, but then, not necessarily have to go through, like a refuge ceremony and so-called as a claim as a Buddhist, whatever, in order to become a Buddha. But then it's necessary to have a right view of the existence of object of refuge. If we don't have the right view of existence of the object of refuge, then there's no ultimate goal to be achieved by practicing Buddha Dharma. You see, but in order to achieve that goal doesn't mean that you need to go through the ceremony, so-called refuge ceremony. You can practice great compassion. You can practice great compassion without being a Buddhist. You can practice emptiness without being a Buddhist. without so calling Buddhist. You can practice bodhicitta without so calling a Buddhist. You know, and you can become Buddha so calling a Buddhist. Become Buddha without so calling a Buddhist. It makes sense? It doesn't make sense? Okay. Yeah. So you see, taking refuge in Buddha Dharma Sangha, those like ceremonial connotation, it's just like a tradition, you know. The enlightenment have to go beyond tradition. It makes sense, no? Enlightenment have to go beyond tradition, beyond culture, you know. And enlightenment is nothing other than, you know, getting the, you know, actualizing the highest state of compassion. You know, highest state of compassion, highest state of altruism, which is the state of omniscience. You know, so in order to achieve that, you know, it's not something that you really need to kind of go through certain ceremonies or need to follow certain tradition. As long as you practice the principle practice, you know, you can able to achieve that result. Yeah, I know not many people will say that. Many people will say that if you want to become Buddha, take refuge. That's what you usually say. But I'm saying something what normally don't say. But you use logic, you use reasoning, then that makes sense. And that makes more open heart, you know, more relaxed environment for more beings to, you know, quicker to achieve enlightenment. Otherwise, you know, in order to achieve enlightenment, you need to go and find a ceremony to take refuge. Then only after that you're allowed to become Buddha. You know, anybody allowed to practice compassion, isn't it? Anybody allowed to practice bodhicitta. You know, anybody allowed to practice emptiness, allowed to realize emptiness. Huh? No? Why no?
To Buddhism.
Huh?
The view of emptiness.
The Buddhism many label. Buddhism is just many label by mind. Many label Buddhism. Can you just you know, there's someone from a label as a Christian practitioner, but then become Buddha? Not possible? Why not possible? Possible. Or someone just labeled as a non-religious follower, but then, you know, is absolutely compassionate, absolutely altruistic, you know. And if that person, you know, don't have a greater opportunity to become Buddha, then who has the greater opportunity to become Buddha? I mean, this is also a subject. It's a good debate, you know. Say, okay, yeah, even in a monastery, you debate. If you want to become Buddha, you need to take refuge. You need to become Buddhist, then only become Buddha. Yeah, there are assertions in that, but in realistic level, that's not necessary. Not necessary. You know, can become Buddha without becoming nun and monk. You know. Not everybody have to become nun and monk to become Buddha also. But of course, if you become nun, then of course there's a greater opportunities are there too. Or if you take refuge under Buddha Dharma Sangha, there are, greater, you know, there's a great opportunity there too. But in order to become Buddha, that is not the only way. What do you think? Yeah, maybe this also can be a discussion topic. In the scripture, there's no particular scripture even by Buddha saying that, you know, in order to become Buddha, you must be Buddhist. No.
You just answered my hidden question. Because when I was thinking about Tara, she wasn't a monk when she got the Buddhist state.
Yeah.
So I was always fascinated by Tara paths
Oh yeah.
of becoming a Buddhist, and I But I thought this question, can you become a Buddha without Buddhist, is kind of forbidden.
Yeah, I think you reminded me that, Tara's first, inspiration into a path, she obtained when she was named called Geshe Zopa. And that time, she's just someone who is, is just overwhelmed with compassion, and with her action of compassion, she was without any choice upgraded into the realization in the path, and some of the omniscient, the divine beings like Buddhas and Bodhisattvas have to voice out saying that, oh, you reached in that state of path, because of you have done so much cultivation of compassion, that's why you reached that state. Or then, she's not even aware, and she didn't even went through any ceremony, and she's already entered into the path. And that time, there's not even a so-called, as a title, so-called as a Buddhist. Just one individual who just cultivate the altruism, and that's how that she was sweetly upgraded. She entered into the path in the first level. Then after that, she achieved the arhatship, realized emptiness directly and realized great clairvoyance. Then she passed through the eight Bhumi Bodhisattva paths, But then she was just remaining. She was even that was it. She was asked, maybe some of the Dakatakinis must have teased her. I don't think the Buddha will just kind of like, I think I regard it as like teasing her, say that, you are so beneficial, you're benefiting so much, you gain so much ability, you accumulated, almost 3 countless years merit. Now, why not? You make a prayer, dedicate your merit, the next life you're born as a man. And she said, no need. They said, no need. I want to enlighten. Maybe she didn't even use the name called Buddha. Maybe she used a name called, I want to enlighten within the state of female body. And that's how who she become. Thanks for reminding me. You see. So I think the practice is what count, and not the status, not the culture. Not the culture, not the status, not the tradition. I think the practice is count. And if you focus on the practice, then I think there's a chances of everybody coming together. And it really this is one essence of, you can call it as a Buddha's teaching, enlightenment teaching, or whatever teaching. So it really, otherwise, in fact, the different, attached to different title, different tradition, also there's a danger of grasping. Of course, we have a choice to choose any tradition we like. We have a choice to wear anything what we like to wear. Whatever the hairstyle you want to keep, you can. But the practice, there's no, I think, how to say, it's the same practice. It's the same practice. If you want to be, if you want to become just like the Bodhisattvas, then there's only one way to go. Practice altruism. If you want to become a so-called as a Buddha or still enlightenment, there's one practice. You develop that. In whatever manner you may be, like that. Okay. I know there will be many people, even in case next time people see this video, there will be a lot of debate with me from monasteries, from everywhere. So you want to become Buddha, then don't need to do it. Welcome. So we do the short mandala. And, yeah.
Shang